Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the Wall Street dramas you actually need to know about. Today we're diving into a little bit of a plot twist from Inspirato Incorporated, a company that was gearing up for a big merger, but then decided to hit the brakes. So, what happened on the 18th of September 2025? Inspirato Incorporated and a company called Merger Sub Inc. were supposed to merge with BioLink Inc. They even had a deal signed back in June. This was big news for the companies involved, and everyone was watching to see how this would reshape things in their industry. But then, just a few months later, they suddenly announced they were calling off the whole deal. It is like planning a wedding and then on the big day saying, nope, not happening. This filing is essentially their formal way of telling everyone that the merger agreement, that big plan to combine forces, is now completely cancelled. They've signed something called a mutual termination agreement. Think of it this way, they had a contract to get married, and now they've signed a divorce agreement before the actual marriage even took place. Both parties looked at each other and said, you know what, this isn't going to work out. Let's just go our separate ways. And importantly, it seems like no one is paying any breakup fees. That is usually a big deal in these kinds of situations, where one party might have to pay a hefty sum if the deal falls through. Here, they've agreed that each company will just cover its own costs and move on. Now, this is interesting because Inspirato Incorporated stock, ticker symbol ISPO, is listed on the Nasdaq. They also have warrants trading under ISPOW. When a merger that seems significant gets called off, it can definitely shake investor confidence. People were likely expecting this deal to bring some growth or strategic advantage, and its cancellation raises questions about what comes next for the company. Inspirato is classified as an emerging growth company. This often means they are still growing rapidly and might not have the same level of financial history or regulatory scrutiny as larger, more established companies. For these companies, big strategic moves like mergers are often crucial for scaling up and achieving their long-term goals. So pulling out of a deal like this, especially after it was announced, can be a significant setback. The actual filing details that the merger agreement is terminated according to a specific section of the original contract. It also mentions that while the main agreement is dead, certain parts that were supposed to survive the termination, perhaps things like confidentiality or how they handle existing obligations, will still be in effect. It is like a clean break, but with a few loose ends tied up. The really juicy details of this mutual termination agreement are tucked away in Exhibit 10.1. That is the formal document that lays out all the terms of their split. While we don't have the full text in this summary, the fact that they are filing it with the SEC means it is a material event for investors to be aware of. Now, what does this cancellation mean for Inspirato? It means they are back to square one, looking for their next growth strategy. Was there something about BioLink that wasn't a good fit? Were there unforeseen issues that came up during the due diligence process, or did market conditions change dramatically, suddenly making the deal less attractive? We don't know the exact reasons from this filing, but the outcome is clear: no merger. The report is signed by Brent Wadman, their general counsel, which is standard practice for these kinds of filings. It shows the official end of this particular chapter. So my take on this is that while the deal falling apart is disappointing, it's arguably better for both parties to walk away if it wasn't the right fit. For Inspirato, the key now is to quickly pivot and find a new path forward to demonstrate continued growth and value to shareholders. The lack of specified termination fees is a positive sign, suggesting a less contentious split. However, investors will be watching closely for new strategic announcements. The biggest risk for Inspirato now is a period of uncertainty and a potential slowdown in growth if they don't quickly identify and execute on a new opportunity. The opportunity, on the other hand, is that they can now pursue other avenues that might be even more beneficial. Alright, that is our breakdown of Inspirato's merger cancellation. What is your take on this abrupt U-turn? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. Don't forget to check out our Discord community linked in the description for more discussions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.